Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode, long awaited, I might add, of me playing Appointment with Fear. But this is Fighting Fantasy Gamebook number 17 in the series, and it is very different to all the other ones because this one has a sort of comic book superhero setting, which is really cool. Um, if all the books were like that, that probably would have been cool too, but the variety makes it even more interesting, I think. So, you may have noticed it's been several weeks now since my last video, and the reason is that I was feeling a little bit unwell a few weeks ago when I was actually starting to make a second episode of playing this, and I was feeling a bit unwell, and I had to just stop. So I rolled up a character which has I rolled skill 10, stamina 23, and luck 11 for my character. And I started over with the same super power, which is super strength. The reason being, um, your adventure is going to be a little bit different in this book, depending on your superpower. And I thought because I'm doing this, I'm going to play this once now, I mean, until I win it in this video series, but if I want to play it again later, it would be fun to choose a completely different superpower and then get a different game. So I've decided I will go with the same superpower, which will also make my mapping a little bit easier, for instance. One thing I did notice last time is that when I was going through the superpowers, and as you're choosing superpowers, you also get directed to a certain set of clues. To get two different clues in the beginning. And I noticed I actually accidentally looked at the wrong paragraph. I looked one page ahead and I got the wrong number, which means I got the wrong clue, which means that the clue that I got is something that I would never be able to do anything about. And the clue that I was supposed to have got is something that I could have actually looked into really early on in my playthrough. So I'm going to get back to that because I actually got to that point again when I played last time when I had to stop. So yes, so you will see what that is about when we get there. Right, so I got my pens, got my dice, got my character sheet, my very well spaced out map, I must say, if I must say so myself, which means that for a change, I will be able to actually add things to it without getting drawn into a corner, so to speak. And it will be easier for me to read the map later. It will be easier for me to figure out where I'm supposed to go to make a difference to my playthrough. And I got my book, and I got my clapper here as well. Of course, already used this because this is for, well, if you normally you would have this is a clapperboard thing. There used to be a board here, but I removed it because I only use it as a clapper. That is to say, I use it to synchronize the sound with the video. So if anyone has wondered why they have these clapping things, it's because you often have separate sound recording and video recording when you make a film or a video. And so by creating a very specific sound and a very clear visual of when that sound is occurring, it's very easy to synchronize your sound and your video. If you don't have these, if you don't have anything like this, the easiest way I've found to synchronize video and sound, if you record them separately, that is, if you record them together, you don't need to, or maybe you need to nudge it just a little bit if it's a little bit out of sync. But if you record separately, the easiest way to synchronize the sound is to be in shot yourself and pronounce the letter B. Now, the thing about B is very visible what your mouth is doing. The sound doesn't start until your lips part, B. And it's also quite a loud sound, so it's quite easy to spot on the sound waveform display in your video editor. So when I say B, it's very easy to see that. So when I say welcome back, for instance, that's where I would synchronize my sound before I used the clapper. I was synchronized on welcome back when I made my videos. Yeah. I got my tea as well. which I will need because a little bit mucusy this morning. It's a very cold morning here. It's just below zero, I think. The house was absolutely freezing when I got up this morning. We do have the heating coming on automatically in the morning, but it goes off automatically as well. And then we have to put it on manually because we have the same programming for the whole year. So we have it coming on in the morning just to sort of take the chill out of the house if it's needed. And then you have to switch it on manually after that. Anyway. Right, so this is page 1, this is the book, this is my character sheet. Let's get started. Right, another thing that I must remember in this one is that when you're doing battles against the villains, you don't get them down to 0, you get them down to 2 or 1 stamina, and that is when they will be unconscious and you can drag them off to the authorities to be tried in court for their crimes. No killing. Okay. Let's see. Superpowers and clues. Let's just go through start with the superpowers and clues section, I guess. So, you are Jean Lafayette, or Jean, possibly, because Lafayette is a French name, so it could be Jean Lafayette. The product of a dangerous but successful genetic experiment. Although seemingly normal as a child, you became apparent in your early teens that you were a far from ordinary human being. I think I'll do it in normal voice now. You are gifted with a superhuman power, which you have sworn to use only for the benefit of your fellow man. As the Silver Crusader, you are well known to the population of Titan City. Most people admire you. Some distrust you, but all members of the underworld fear you. Only your parents, who are both dead, ever knew your real identity and the origin of your powers. In the adventures ahead, you will begin with one of 4 powers. During your daily activities and encounters with disasters and supercriminals, you will have 2 objectives. First, you must learn the whereabouts of the secret meeting of F.E.A.R, the Federation of Euro-American Rebels. I suppose the acronym sounds better than the actual meaning of it, which is due to take place within the next 2 days. This dangerous alliance of master criminals and enemy agents is planning to overthrow the governments of the Western world and establish their own rule. Secondly, you may assess your own performance as a superhero by trying to gain as many hero points as possible. And I will look into how many I got last time at some point. Before you start each adventure, you may choose which superpower to start with from the 4 powers listed below. You will also start the game with knowledge of 2 clues. Following the description of each superpower, you will find instructions on where to find your clues, which are hidden in the text of the adventure. Before you turn to reference 1 to start your adventure, choose your superpower, locate and read the clues, and enter the information on your character sheet. Right, so I'm going in super strength again. So you have the strength of many men. The muscles of your immensely powerful legs and arms bulge through the fabric of your costume, which of course is spandex in true superhero fashion. Where the superhero get their clothes from? Did they go to actually sort of a superhero couture shop? Maybe there would be one on 5th Avenue, surely. Okay. They are developed to the point of perfection, and in combat situations, you always fight with skill of 13. So I go from 10 to 13. You also have the power to fly through the air at any speed you wish, and of course I do take some objection to that, because obviously you can't fly faster than light. Yeah. So you can fly with any speed up to just below light speed. Yeah, no, that doesn't really sound that poetic, does it? You can fly through the air at almost any speed. That would work. Okay, this allows you to hover unsupported above the ground or to chase and catch up with the fastest jet. To find the first of your clues, turn to reference 127. For your other clue, you may choose one from the following. So this is where I went wrong last time, because at some point I accidentally Because I think that when first I got my first one, and then I went back to this section, and I accidentally looked at these numbers instead and picked 222, which is supposed to be a clue for energy blast. And I was meaning to pick 108, so I picked the wrong clue. So I'm going to go do the clues now to 127 first of all. The Scarlet Prankster, a fun-loving criminal who delights in playing practical jokes on his unsuspecting victims, has found a new home and one most befitting his sense of humor. And when you are in the vicinity of his new residence and are given the opportunity to look for him, subtract 50 from the reference you are on at the time and turn to this new reference to find him. So that is, I just put that here, Scarlet Prankster minus 50, and I will remember where that is. Because I was there last time as well. And then I'm going to 108 because that is the clue that I was missing last time. There is a new menace in town as Daddy Rich's lawyers have just got him off a murder charge. He is an eccentric millionaire who has everything money could buy. He now gets his kicks by murdering innocent victims and revels in their fear. He has very expensive tastes and lives in a penthouse apartment at 113 58th Street. So, Daddy Rich, 113 58th Street. I will need the numbers, I guess. So that is the super power and the clues for getting started. And then I will go to background after another sip of tea. Right. The time of your birth was an anxious moment for your parents and their doctors. Your mother had consented to undergo an experimental form of genetic surgery. The doctors had warned her of the dangers of the radiation experiments. The research program was nowhere near complete. This she already knew, for she herself was one of the researchers. The work had reached the stage where progress was impossible without testing it on a human subject. Your father had not fully understood the implications when he gave his consent, and 8 pairs of apprehensive eyes watched your arrival into the world. The first reaction was one of relief. You certainly seemed a normal, healthy baby. Postnatal tests show no physical deformities whatsoever. In fact, you appear to be a fine specimen. In your younger years, your development was carefully monitored with a seemingly endless series of physiological and psychological tests, all of which you passed with flying colours. Excuse me. Well, doctors and researchers congratulated themselves. Their experiments were a complete success. However, the experiments had been conducted in a shroud of secrecy. Had the world known of the risks of the experiment, public outcry would have been overwhelming. It would certainly have put an end to further genetic research. From your mother's point of view, she had no wish to have the world regard you as an experimental freak. Only a few knew what had really happened. Over the years, the testing stopped, as the doctors felt more and more certain that there was no need to monitor your progress. As fate would have it, it was just when this testing stopped that it became clear that you were anything but a normal child. Your latent superhuman powers did not show themselves until after the doctors had lost interest. Your parents, who had become thoroughly fed up with the endless tests, which is a bit bizarre considering how your mother is an absolutely die-hard researcher and scientist whose life then revolves around doing endless tests. But I'll let that slide. Decided that your extraordinary powers must remain a secret from the world. They had no wish to have you studied as some kind of freak for the rest of your life. You have a regular job working in an office of a medium-sized company, but when duty calls, you become the Silver Crusader, upholder of justice, and you have taken an oath to serve in the fight against crime in Titan City. Apart from your own super abilities, you have one other device to aid you, your crime watch. This neat little device, worn around your wrist, receives and broadcasts transmissions to and from your 2 most important allies. You can be contacted by police headquarters through this crime watch, and you can also summon the police to aid you. In addition, your friend and underworld contact, Jerry the Grass, is able to warn you of impending crimes through the Crime Watch. Jerry the Grass has recently become aware of an important meeting about to take place within the next few days. Vladimir Utoshsky, leader of F.E.A.R, the Federation of Euro-American Rebels, has been summoning his aides in crime to meet in Titan City. Utoshsky, also known as the Titanium Cyborg, is a supervillain whose field of expertise is the electronic enhancement of human abilities. He is part man, part machine, and completely dangerous. Well, very dangerous, it says, but if you say part man, part machine, then you should really use the word like fully or complete afterwards. Jerry the Grass has not yet found out where or when the meeting is due, but one thing is certain. Its purpose is to finalize plans for a scheme which would mean disaster for the Western world. The meeting must be stopped. You must find out where and when this meeting is due to take place and prevent it at all costs. Well, not all costs, because you don't want to kill anyone and things like that. Now turn over. Okay. And of course, the name of Vladimir Utoshsky. In the book, it says Utoshsky, which doesn't work in any language. So Utoshsky is what I'm going with, because that actually makes sense in Russian. So there we are. Utoshsky. As you walk the 10 blocks to work that morning, you can't help but feel that something is not quite right. You stop by a telephone booth to consider what it could be. The sounds of the city are the usual 8 a.m. cacophony. Cars and buses bounce past along Clark Street. Of course, Clark Street named after Clark Kent. There'll be lots of references to other superheroes in here. The driver's too sleepy even to try to avoid the pits and bumps in the road. A newspaper vendor bold and incomprehensible headline, something about a robbery. Robbery is real about it. The crowds of men and women milling past him on their ways to work. Overhead in the sky, the rhythmic beating of a traffic copter's blades fades into the distance. An argument is taking place between an elderly businessman and an overlarge woman with an untrained dog, whose sidewalk deposits have offended the businessman. There is nothing unusual. Or is there? The difference is only barely perceptible, but there is a distinct air of tension in the streets. There are nervous twitches in the eyes of the passers-by. The cars are accelerating and braking in a jittery manner. Little things like that. To your heightened senses, the atmosphere is pregnant. Today will not be just another day. Your thoughts are broken by the high-pitched wailing of a police siren. A yellow and black Cougar GS screeches round the corner and leaps ahead through the Clark Street traffic before swinging left into Audubon Park. Behind it, the traffic settles back into its regular flow. Your attention drifts back to the argument. A small crowd is built up around the man and woman. Raised voices are taking one side or the other, and the situation is beginning to look nasty. What will you do next? Go over and see if you can break up the argument. Run after the police car into Audubon Park. Buy a newspaper to find out about the robbery. Ignore all these incidents and go to work, which is probably what you should be doing. Right, so what I have been doing every single time now is to, well, both times, is to go after the police and into the park. And I know that that is where I get my reference to one of my clues and the one that I missed last time. Now, the question is, can I do any of these other things and still go into the park? I will presume that I can. So let's just sort of, if I can't do it, I just want to go back to this point. So I'm doing a save game now, or a finger, as it's known as, in fighting fantasy terms. And so I'm going to go and see if I can break up the argument, and if that prevents me from actually doing the bit in the park, then I will go back to that. So I'm going to try to break up the argument. So we have argument, yes. Do you wish to step into the crowd in street clothes or nip around the corner to change into the Silver Crusader? So we have I suppose in this case, maybe I don't need to change into the Crusader because I still just want to find out what's going on. But then again, there might be, yeah. Okay, so street or silver. Okay, I'm gonna try doing it in my street clothes, although that might be a mistake. If there's something really bad going on that we don't know yet. Yeah, no, that doesn't work actually. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my save game and going to seem that is actually messing up the bit that I know that I want to do, and that is going to the park. So I'm going to go leave that for another time, and I'm going to go to the park. Right. As you enter the park, you pick up sounds of a commotion and follow it to a crowd grouped around a body. Police are trying to move the crowd on. Will you push through to see what is happening, or change into the Silver Crusader? In which case you don't need to push through anymore. So I'm going to change to the Silver Crusader. You step as a Silver Crusader towards the scene. A police officer spots you and helps you through the crowd, which pass as you are recognized. Could just flown through, I guess. On the ground in the center of the crowd is the body of a man of some means by the looks of his expensive clothing. Lying next to him is a gold-trimmed briefcase. While the police is busy themselves with moving the crowd on, you may choose to examine either the body, the briefcase, or the surrounding bushes. Now, and I know I get a clue, or I get to somewhere that is a reference to my clue if I examine the bushes. So I'm going to examine the bushes. An unmarked police car screeches to a halt by the barrier and two detectives climb out. Meanwhile, you hunt through the bushes around the area. Test your luck. I rolled an 8. My luck is 11, so I am lucky. So that is down to 10. And I turn to 405. Yes, this book goes it's longer than 400 paragraphs, this one. So it's not going to 400 is not a victory in this one. You reach into a thorny bush and your fingers touch a metallic object. Grasping it as best you can, you pull out a gold medallion hanging on a delicate chain. As you turn it over in your hand, you realize it is undoubtedly quite valuable. The medallion has the initials DR engraved on it, so that's Daddy Rich. Will you hand this over to the police or take it to a jeweler? Alternatively, you may wish to visit another address. If so, add together the number and street number of this address and turn to this reference. And this is the one I missed last time because I was on this paragraph, but I didn't have the right clue. So, I know that this is Daddy Rich, and I want to add 113 to 58 to get the reference, so that is 171. So I want to go to 171 and confront Daddy Rich. You arrive just in time. As you are about to enter the building, 3 men turn the corner towards you. In his golden furs, Daddy Rich is returning home, flanked by his 2 burly bodyguards. That's this panel right here. They hesitate when they see you. Speckles of blood on his cuffs and shoes confirm your suspicions. If you have energy blast, turn to 371. Otherwise, turn to 139 to confront Daddy Rich. So we have, that means that it is possible to get to this clue, presumably, or this location, even if you don't have that clue, because the energy blast clues are different. Just checking that now. Yeah, so that means you didn't have that clue that I have. But there might be a roundabout way of doing it. For instance, if you look at the briefcase, you might get a clue that leads you to something else, that leads you to back to Daddy Rich again. So I'm going to go 139 and 371 energy blast. Okay, 139. Probably going to be a fight, I would imagine. Daddy Rich pulls out a long-bladed silver knife, and his 2 thugs do likewise. Fight his 2 bodyguards one at a time. Skill 8, stamina 9. Skill 7, stamina 8. Not very good bodyguard skills, are they? If you defeat them, you may take on Daddy Rich himself. Right. So, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 8, and 73, and +3 hero points. Okay, so let's do this. So I am skill 13, stamina 23, and I am fighting in order 8, 9, 7, 8, and 9, 8. Okay. So first one, I got a 5 skill point advantage, and I must remember I only need to get them down to 1 or 2 stamina left, and then I will have 1. So he rolls a 4. I roll a 6. It's down to 7, 8, 7, 5, 11, 7. So that is 4. That is still me hitting him. 9, 10, and he's down to 1. The first one is unconscious. Second one, I got a 6 skill point advantage. He rolls a 12. I rolled a 12. Ooh, that's never happened before. Okay. 6 and 6. And finally, perhaps 8 and 8. So he's down to 2, and he is unconscious. Then it's Daddy Rich himself, and I got a 4 skill point advantage. He rolls a 4. I roll a 5. He rolls a 6. I roll a 9. He rolls a 5, and I roll an 8, and he's down to 2, and he is also unconscious. Excuse me. So, then I get 3 hero points. 3. And I go to 73. You change back into your street clothes. Turn to 181. Okay. The familiar bleeping on your wrist alerts you. Your crime watch is receiving a message. The electronic voice speaks 2 words. Parker Airport. Hurriedly you change into the Silver Crusader and speed towards the outskirts of the city. Never rains, but it pours. Halfway there, the crime watch bleeps again. This time the voice is warning you of another incident at PETA Laboratories. You have no indication of which is more urgent. So I also noticed the reference there. PETA Laboratories, Parker Airport, Peter Parker. Yes. You have no. Where will you go? To PETA Laboratories or to Parker Airport? Now, last time I went to. Let's see. Where is it now? Well, these are the same ones. Oh, hang on. 181. I already got 181 there on my map from last time. So, last time I went to the airport. And I managed to do something there, and I got a clue. So maybe this is what I should be doing now as well. Because I know that I will get a clue from it. Let's see what was a clue I got there. Then I'm wondering, I sort of know that I'm most likely. Then that means that if you can't do both at the same time, and only one of them gives you one of the main clues, I must presume that the airport is going to be the most important one, and the other one will not give you a major clue, unless it's the same clue. Because you can't be remembering clues from one playthrough to the next. I don't think you should be doing that. I think a correct playthrough, or sort of a correct path, would include all the clues you need to find the solution, rather than picking them up at different playthroughs and then just going to the right place at the end. So I will have to go to the airport so that I can get the clue. So that is 410. Also a bit strange going past 400 in these books. Right, 410. You arrive at Parker Airport and ask the nearest security guard whether anything is happening. "The Silver Crusader!" he gasps. "Thank goodness you're here. Follow me. I'll take you to the control tower." You follow him up into the control tower, where you find the place buzzing with activity. The air traffic controller greets you nervously. "Have you heard?" "No. The police are on their way. Some guy calling himself the Tormentor has hijacked a DC-10 full of passengers to London. He's mad. No demands, nothing. Says he'll crash the plane. Blames it all on Susan. We don't know what to do. A complete nutter. Is there anything you can do? Is there anything you can do?" If Susan means anything to you, turn to 141. I presume this is some sort of clue from the beginning. If not, you can use your powers. If you have super strength, turn to 84. If you have psi powers, turn to 216. Otherwise, turn to 176. So, I've got superpowers, so I can sort this out as well. So I'm going to 84. Also, I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't get any clues from Daddy Rich, but there you go. You rush out towards the control tower and zoom up into the sky towards the low-flying aircraft circling the airport. You reach it easily and enter through the emergency door release. The rush of air alerts the passengers, and they gasp as they see the Silver Crusader enter. Yeah. Close the door. So not only are you able to open the door from the outside, you're able to close it from the outside as well. Interesting. Or from the inside. Yeah, and motion for everyone to remain calm. Luckily, the cockpit door is closed, and the Tormentor has not noticed your entry. The way is clear for you to surprise the villain. You swing open the cockpit door. Inside, the two frightened pilots are tied against one wall. Yeah, because that's definitely room for that in the DC-10, isn't there? At the controls is a shaggy-haired madman whose wide grin turns to a look of astonishment as you appear. You must spring on him quickly. This sort of stereotyping of madmen, isn't it? To have shaggy hair. It's because they don't clean and comb their hair, so that's one of the symptoms of their madness, clearly. A little bit cliche. Okay, so the Tormentor. Got the skill of 8, stamina of 9, so I got a 5-point skill advantage. He rolls 7, I roll a 9, he's down to 7. He rolls 10, here I roll an 8, 5, he rolls 7, I roll 11, he's down to 3, so one more. He rolls a 4 and I've got him. There we are. If you defeat him within 10 combat rounds, oh yes, well, didn't have to count, did I? Turn to 346. Okay, so I presume if you take more than 10 rounds, the plane will crash. Let's have a look at that, just out of curiosity. Yes. If you don't defeat him in 10 combat rounds, the plane does crash, and it's the end. I'll just put that up there. Because there's not a choice. It's just an effect of what happens. So it's not really a spoiler as such. Okay, so 346. While the struggle is fought, the aircraft falls into a steep dive. Your last blow fells your foe. As it slumps to the floor, you grab the controls of the plummeting aircraft and shout for the stewardess. She arrives and is able to untie the pilots. In the nick of time, if you can fly as fast as you want and you are as strong as you want to be, you can untie the pilots within 1 second, probably. You just tear up the rope. They're free to go. They can go and do the aircraft thing. Okay. She arrives and is able to untie the pilots. In the nick of time, they take over from you and are able to guide the plane down to a safe landing. Turn to 35. Okay. You hand the tormentor over to the authorities and he is bundled off into a waiting police car. You stoop to pick up a piece of paper which seems to have fallen from his pocket. Opening it up, you find it appears to be a note scribbled down, perhaps from a telephone conversation. The note is ripped in half, and the line at the top of the paper is F.E.A.R. Under this, a message which reads, "Meeting on 27th this month. ... You consider this for a moment, fold the paper up and tuck it into your belt. You may add 2 hero points. Okay, so we have 5 hero points and we have a clue, which is the F.E.A.R meeting is going to be on the 27th of this month. I know that, I suppose. So meeting, we'll still need to know the date, the time, location, all those things actually. Okay. Excuse me. 10 to 10. Sorry about all the coughing and things. I'm just a bit sniffly today. The weather does it. Okay. Probably need to go for a walk as well. Might clear my sinuses up. Because we have a lockdown here now, but we are allowed out to go for exercise, which means going for a walk, I suppose, does qualify. So another lockdown, yeah, the joys. Actually, this one is very important, though. I'll not say anything more about that. Okay, you leave the airport and head for home. Shouldn't you be going to work, perhaps? It was too late for that now. What a day. You slump into the chair in front of the TV and relax with a long cold drink. What about work? Yeah, you may add 6 stamina points for the rest. One thing disturbs you. Here it comes. Your boss, Jonah White. Am I correct in thinking that the Superman's boss, Clark Kent's boss, was called something White as well, wasn't he? I'm just thinking it was something white, wasn't it? Will be livid when you turn up for work tomorrow. If you turn up for work tomorrow, that is. If you don't go to work at all tomorrow, he won't be livid. Oh, well. You will have to invent some pretty convincing excuses. Again, I'm sure. The next morning, you set off to work early. You decide to travel by subway to make sure you get to work on time. Could have just flown there. I mean, come on. It's a little bit sort of strange when you have different superpowers because sometimes there are options that are clearly better for someone who can fly as fast as they want. But since when has a superhero's life ever been easy? Help! Shouts the voice further up the crowded carriage. Pickpocket! Oh no, just what you needed. You force your way through the crowd on the busy train. As you reach the pickpocket's victim, that familiar beep, beep, beep sounds from your crime watch. Its electronic voice speaks. Rad Square, hurry. You sigh. But what will you do? The train is pulling into the station and you will have to change trains immediately if you are to reach Rad Square quickly. Or I could have flown there. If you want to do this, turn to 201. If you want to apprehend the pickpocket, turn to 185. So what did I do last time? I went to Rad Square last time. Hang on, was that a clue I got there? I was checking that. That's not marked properly on my map. No. Well, okay, so I'll just... No, it's not a clue. Let's put the hero points in the wrong place. Okay. Let's not do rad square because I don't seem... The only thing I got out of it, it looks like, is hero points. I'm going to check out the pickpocket this time. 185. There was no sort of secret third option. Go to work, but there you go. You rush up to a puny-looking, bespectacled man who is shaking with fright. There! He cries, pointing to a man running up through the next carriage. He's stolen my wallet! You race after him. No one else moves. They don't want to get involved. If only you could change into the Silver Crusader. Roll 2 dice and compare the total with your skill score. If the total is less than or equal to your skill score, greater than basically I've got a skill of 13. I can't fail that. So, but I will make a note of it. Let's see. So, skill test. Okay, so 2 possibilities. I'll just go move down here actually, like so. So it's less or equal, so 166 or greater than 106. That is fail and success. So you gain ground and catch up with a pickpocket. As you grab him, he spins round to face you and draws out a knife. You will have to fight him with your bare hands, as you cannot risk revealing yourself as the Silver Crusader. But as a Silver Crusader, I'm still sort of fighting with bare hands. I'm equally, yeah. Well, never mind. It's just the costume. And when I've got it, yeah, never mind. Okay. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? I've got superpower. I've got super strength, but the thing is, as long as I don't fly, nobody will bother me. I'm just looking like a strong person. So, anyway, he's got 7, 6. I've got a 6 skill point advantage. He rolls a 7. I roll a 10. He's down to 4, and he rolls a 9. I roll a 7. And he's down to 2, and he's knocked unconscious. And I defeat him, and I turn to 2, 9, 6. You go through the man's pockets to retrieve the wallet. He's carrying some peculiar things, no doubt the pickings of his trade. Along with the wallet, you find a cigarette packet which contains a crumpled piece of paper, a tape cassette, and a map. Before handing the pickpocket over to a security guard on the train, you manage to take one of these from him. Which did you take? Okay, that's interesting. So we got 3 items. Uh, 423. Cigarette packet. 281. Tape. Or 20. Map. Okay. Now I must presume that something here holds a clue again. I didn't get a clue from going to Rad Square, and it seems that in my encounters so far there seems to have been sort of 2 branches where one gives you a clue and another one doesn't. So maybe. So then the question is, which of these gives me a clue? Do all of them give me a clue? Do they give me different clues? Do some of them give me minor clues? Does one of them give me a major clue? Now, last time I sort of found the time of the meeting. I think I figured out the time of the meeting, didn't I? But I didn't know the location of the meeting. So maybe a map might be something that could reveal a location of the F.E.A.R meeting. It is possible. I'll go with a map this time. So I'm going to take the map and go to 20. You spread the map out. It is a map of Titan City and well used, by the looks of things. Fingers have rubbed the printing off one area and a small black cross marks the spot. It is approximately at the junction of 12th Street and 2nd Avenue. So 12th and 2nd. But there is no clue on the map as to what this could be. You fold the map up and put it back in your pocket. Okay, so I do have then a clue. It's a map. 12th 2nd. So that could be the location of the secret meeting. I don't know yet. Turn to 86. Okay, so 86. The train stops at Grim Street Station and you get off to go to work, finally. You try to settle into your desk discreetly. No such luck. Lafayette, get in here at once. No sooner had you stepped through the office door than Jonah White's booming voice summoned you. You creep into his office, mumbling scanty excuses for being late yet again. Enough, he yells. What do you think we're running here? A charity? Do you suppose I should be grateful that you even grace us with your presence? Very noble of you indeed to even bother coming in at all. Well, I tell you what, I'm feeling kind today. You can have the rest of the day off without pay. And if you're not in first thing tomorrow morning, you can start looking for another job. You slink out of his office with your tail between your legs. How can you tell him what you've been doing? And now you've been suspended for a day. Where will you go? Will you spend the day at Disneyland, the amusement park, or will you go downtown, perhaps to do some shopping? Now, Disneyland, which absolutely made me get laughing kicks last time when I was reading it and I heard it for the first time. That's where you find the Scarlet Prankster. So I am going to go to Disneyland. So, but hang on, 86. Isn't that somewhere I've been before? This paragraph looks exceedingly familiar. I'm just wondering if I'm already... I'm sure I've seen exactly the same paragraph before. That is weird. Let's just check out 71. No. Okay, there's other things happening there. Anyway. So I'm going to Disneyland or to do some shopping. And oh yes. Okay, so the 86 paragraph now is the same probably as 435. Because it leads to the same ones. Ah, yes. So there was another paragraph, 435, that is almost identical to paragraph 86. In fact, I'll just move this up here. So 86, and then I'll move 86 up here. So that's from 20. And then we have 86, which leads to 15 or 202. Okay, so there we are. Because 435 and 86, practically the same thing. Okay, so now I'm on page 2 of my map. And I'm going to Disneyland. It's a small world after all. Disneyland is swarming with holidaymakers enjoying their day out at the amusement park. Ah, good old days, huh? Before all this current nonsense. The smell of candy floss and hot dogs hangs in the air, and as you stroll about, youngsters clutching stuffed animals run laughing past you. Screams of delight from roller coaster riders turning through the corkscrew break through the general hubbub. You are going to enjoy yourself today. I am indeed. Which ride do you want to try? The Big Dipper, the fun house, or the dodgems? Now, of course, last time I was sort of thinking, ooh, Scarlet Prankster, fun house. That sounds like the place for the Scarlet Prankster. And that's where I'll go, because I was right. It is the right place for the Scarlet Prankster. So, welcome to the house of fun. Okay, you pay the admission charge and enter the fun house. You walk along a narrow passageway. As you turn a dark corner, a luminous skeleton appears in front of you, shrieking wildly. You jump, and then laugh. Just one of the scares of the fun house. Further down the passage, your feet stumble on a wobbly floor, and the walls begin to sway. Suddenly, your foot steps on something and you fall forwards, but this time it is not a wobbly floor. You fall through the ground and land on a rubber mattress in a dark pit. Although it is pitch black, you can tell that you are not alone. Another figure touches you. A voice calls out and you answer. "Oh, thank God someone else is here," gasps a man's voice. "I've been here for 2 hours. I can't find a way out. And not only that, my wallet is gone. I'm sure it has been stolen. And I don't think this was any accident. My name is Grant Morley, reporter on the Titan Times. I have been covering an expose to reveal the identity of the Scarlet Prankster. Earlier, I met an informant at the Big Wheel who gave me a key to one of the rooms here where he thought I could get some useful information. The key was in my wallet. You consider the situation. The Scarlet Prankster is a dangerous criminal who delights in grisly practical jokes. You decide to change into the Silver Crusader under cover of the pitch blackness. Then the two of you search the walls for a way out. You find a hidden door which lets you into the main room of the funhouse. If you have super strength, turn to 248, etc. So I got super strength, go to 248. I don't need to make a note of the other things because I've done that on my map already. So, if you want to check some of the special attractions of the funhouse, turn to 143. Alternatively, you may know exactly where you want to look. If this is the case, you will know how to get there and you may go there immediately. So that is the one that refers to the clue I got for Scarlet Prankster was when you are in a position where you might be finding him, you deduct 50 from the number, so that means I get to go to 198. I'm at 248 now, and I go back to 198, and that should be where I find him. So, you fly up towards the central dome of the funhouse. Sure enough, your information was correct. High up the wall of the funhouse is a door. You alight outside the door, burst inside, and startle a hunched figure dressed in a colorful jester's costume. He grabs for a piece of paper on the table in front of him and tries to stuff it into his mouth, but you are too quick for him. You manage to stop him eating the paper and must now fight him. Excuse me. So, we have Scarlet Prankster, 9-8. So I've got a 4 skill point advantage. He rolls an 8. I roll an 8. He's down to 6. Oops. He rolls a 10. I roll a 9. He's down to 4 stamina. He rolls 6 and I roll 8 and he is unconscious. So I defeat him and go to 333, where I will get another major clue. You pick up the piece of paper that he was trying to destroy. It bears the emblem of F.E.A.R. Let's call him F.E.A.R. actually. The message is short. Do not forget, the meeting starts 9 a.m. So, we know the date, the 27th. We know it's 9 a.m. And I get 3 hero points for a total of 8. And now I go to 103. Where are you heading as you leave Disneyland? Will you make your way downtown to do some shopping? Still an option, actually. Or go home. If you decide to go home, you may either want to rest for the evening, in which case you may gain 6 stamina points, or you may wish to sacrifice stamina gain and to spend the evening at the theatre, if you can get a ticket for tonight's performance of Rats. Right. So shopping. I don't know what could I gain from shopping. I have no idea. Might be something interesting, of course. But then again, the show of rats sounds interesting. I'm gonna go to check out tonight's performance of Rats if I can get a ticket. You are in luck. A ticket for tonight's performance has just been handed in. It's not the best seat in the house, but you get a good view of the show. It's all about a group of rats who live in a rubbish tip and sing to each other for amusement. A rather peculiar plot, you think. And obviously, I presume that Steve Jackson has just seen Cats before writing about this. But you are particularly taken by the star Lola Mange. In the last scene, as she is singing the title song, the show is interrupted. At first you thought this character in a serpent's costume was part of the show, but when he picks her up in mid-song and runs off the stage, you realize that she has been kidnapped. Or rat-napped, I suppose. You find a dark corner in the back of the theatre and change costume. Will you wait outside the theatre for the kidnapper to make his escape, or follow him backstage? You may remember your resolution and decide against intervening. If you will simply leave things be and go home, turn to 79. That is not an option I will take. So we have 3 options. So we have 407, 169, or 79. So that is outside, but then of course there might be alternative escape routes. So if it is correct to go outside, that is probably safer. Backstage there might be more danger, but danger is my middle name, or is it? Backstage or home. So I'm going to go backstage and have a little look and see if I can. You rush across the stage and disappear into one of the wings after the kidnapper. Stairs lead down to the dressing rooms. At the foot of the stairs are 3 rooms. Room number 1 has 2 stars on the door. The door to room number 2 has 1 star and is slightly ajar. Room number 3 has no stars on it. Which will you try? Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to move those over there. That is 322, 288, 250. It sounds like sort of a part of a brain teaser of some sort, doesn't it? Room number 1 has 2 stars, but it's closed. Room number 2 has 1 star and is open, and 3 has no stars. Slightly ajar. I'll try the one that is slightly ajar, I suppose. 1, 2, 3. You push the door open and step into an untidy dressing room. Clothes are strewn about the floor and jars of makeup lie open on the dressing table in front of the mirror. But otherwise the room is empty. You search through the mess for a clue to the serpent's whereabouts, but find nothing. You want to try number 1 or room number 3? Well, I'm going to go with room number 3 in that case. Or 3. I think 3 is the correct one, yeah? Okay, so, but we're too late now. The dressing room shows obvious signs of a struggle having taken place recently. Theatrical clothes, ripped and soiled, lie strewn about the place among smashed bottles of theatrical makeup. Evidently, the kidnapper and his victim had something of a fight here. But where are they now? The open window gives the game away. It leads out into the parking lot behind the theatre. And as you poke your head out to look for the serpent, you hear the sound of squealing tires. And I could have just flown after him now because I can fly, but the serpent has escaped with his victim. You will never catch him now. But I can fly! Okay. Slight flaw in the plot here. Oh well. You change back into your street clothes and make home turn to 79. Okay. So I went to room 2 and then I had the option of, let's see, so 117 and 79. Okay. And I need some water because it's getting a bit thirsty now. After a good night's sleep, you set off for work the next morning. To your great relief, your crime watch does not sound at all, and you actually arrive before Jonah White, who is astounded to find you hard at work when he arrives. You may add 2 lock points, so 11, okay. Let's see, lock plus 2, okay. You may add 2 luck points, as the danger of losing your job has now passed. Well, I think you're really threading a thin line there. At 5 o'clock, you leave. Will you change into the Silver Crusader and visit police headquarters to find out why so little has been happening on the crime front all day? Or will you pay a surprise visit on your aunt who lives out in the suburbs? Do you have an aunt in the suburbs? Right. So I suppose I'm now sort of parallel with 245. Let's see if I have any of these before 245. I don't have 245, do I? Okay, so I'm going to just move it up here a bit. So we have 245. Police or 134. Aunt. I'm going to go see my aunt, I suppose. See if she has anything interesting to say. Your aunt lives in Cockney Green, a pleasant suburban district to the east of the Titan Centre. The bus drops you off at Cockney Cemetery, leaving you with a 5-minute walk to her house. Will you take a leisurely stroll around the outside of the cemetery, or will you take a shortcut through it? Well, obviously there's something going on in the cemetery, otherwise I wouldn't be given the choice, so I will go through it and see what's going on there. Okay. So we have, let's just do that. I'm not sure if I should. Where I should put that on the map, I'll just go like so. Okay. So 85 or 219 around or through. Okay. So I'm going to go through the cemetery. The sky clouds over as you enter the cemetery, and by the time you are halfway across, the atmosphere is decidedly spooky. This is a 5-minute walk, and I presume that's not with a shortcut. So, yeah, I suppose that is quite spooky if it gets dark that quickly. A scraping noise to your left attracts your attention. The noise is coming from a recently dug grave, and you step over to get a closer look. Your eyes widen as you see a movement in the soil on the top of the grave. Something is trying to get out. A hand reaches out of the soil, and you're frozen to the spot as a huge shape lifts itself out of the pit. You recognize the creature. You have come across him once before. Well, actually, I haven't come across him once before, so that's a continuity error here because I didn't do that bit. The webbed claws of the grey-skinned beast, did come across him last time, but not this time. Flex. The webbed claws of the grey-skinned beast flex as it steps towards you. The reincarnation. The beast that cannot be killed. Why on earth has he been buried in an ordinary grave? Probably some idiot official didn't believe the stories, but one thing is certain. The reincarnation must not be allowed to stalk Titan City again on its mission of destruction. Right. So, 4 options. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3, 3, 2, ETS, 4, 22, Psi, 3, 5, 2, Blast, or 3, 7, 3, Strength. Okay, so our super strength, I go to 3, 7, 3. The reincarnation is a powerful creature which may not be killed, but you may be able to knock it unconscious. If you reduce its stamina to 0, it will remain so for 2 days. Okay. Right, so it's got a skill of 10 and a stamina of 12, so I only got 3 skill point advantage. He rolls 7, I roll a 4, that's a draw. 8, 9, he's down to 10. 6, 10, down to 8. 6, 7, down to 6. 3, 8, down to 4. 7, 6, down to 2. And 8, 8, down to 0, which means he is unconscious. And I defeat him and turn to 239. Okay, so let's just go to 239. Let's see, 10, 12. Okay. There is no one about to help you. What can you do? Simply leave the creature where it lies? You decide the best thing to do is to place it back in its grave and cover it until you can bring the police to dispose of the reincarnation more effectively. You cannot gain any hero points for this encounter as no one has seen you defeated. Such are the rewards of a devotion to public service. Now you continue by setting off once more for your aunt's, turn to 76. Okay. Right. Your Aunt Florence is overjoyed to see you, but wonders why you are looking so untidy. She fusses about making you tea and offering you cream and cream cakes. You are exhausted by the day's activities and are happy to... Well, it's probably the work that does it. And are happy to let her fuss. You decide to spend the night there rather than face the long journey home. Next morning is, thank goodness, a Saturday. No work. If indeed you still have a job left to go back to at all. Indeed. You leave your aunt's and you must now decide where you will go. There is an exhibition of home appliances of the future at the World's Court Exhibition Centre. You may go there by turning to 425. Or you may go to watch the presidential cavalcade on 7th Avenue. The president is coming to Titan City, turn to 21. Alternatively, the Titan Tigers are playing a friendly football game against the Metro Mohawks. I think I've seen these before as well. Let's see if I have these anywhere. Yes, there we have them. So, options. Didn't I see 21? Okay, so that is one option. 114. is an option. And 425, I don't think I've seen that as an option before. In any case, I think I'll move my 76 up here, so I can then have the 425. Okay. And then that is down to 239. Let's move this one up here, 76, like so. Okay. Now, last time I went to the football game and I had a big fight and I got lots of hero points, but no clues. Which means that I should choose either the presidential cavalcade or the home appliances of the future. Now, it seemed like there was quite an unusual chain of choices that actually led me to have that as an option in the first place, whereas the cavalcade is more likely to come up, which means I probably should go with that one. So I'm going to go to have a look at the presidential cavalcade on 7th Avenue. The citizens of Titan City have turned out in their thousands to greet the president. They line both sides of the 7th Avenue 6 deep, and the presidential car is still not due to arrive for half an hour. That's not a big crowd, is it? I mean, 6 deep on both sides of the street, that's 12 to a row, you might say. So, which means that you do 1,000 divided by 12, it's 83. And if you stand shoulder to shoulder, you will sort of each be filling out, well, less than a yard, really. So that means that the crowd of well, that's per 1,000 crowd, then you're actually only filling in something like, let's see if you do maybe 50 meters per 1,000 on the street. I mean, that's not much at all, is it? Anyway, tiny crowd, and this is a big city. There would be hundreds of thousands, not thousands. Anyway, and the presidential car is still not due to arrive for half an hour. Spirits are high. There is much flag waving and bands are playing in the streets as a prelude to the arrival. Will you spend the next half hour in a coffee bar waiting for the main procession to arrive, or will you find a place in the crowd which offers a decent view? Well, I could just hover over it, couldn't I? Let's see. So we've got coffee bar or view. So 7 view or 100 coffee. I'm going to see if I can get a good view, actually. You fight your way through the crowd until you reach a spot where you can just about see the cars arrive up the avenue over the heads of the crowd in front of you. 20 minutes later, the cavalcade arrives, and surely it's a motorcade, not a cavalcade, though. And cheers go up from the crowd as the president's car approaches. Yes, a car, so it's a motorcade. Cavalcade implies horses. Anyway, as the president's car approaches, you catch sight of a man in front of you struggling with something. His hand comes free. He is holding a gun and is preparing to point it at the president. You are in your street clothes and cannot use your superpowers. Well, super strength is still available, mind you. But you must do something to prevent the man getting a shot at the president. You leap on him from behind. Is the intention that I'm not be able to fight at full strength if I'm in my street clothes? Because that's a bit ridiculous. So anyway, After the second round of combat, turn to 351. Okay, so I'm just gonna a few other illogical things in this book, so I'm just gonna fight as if I have my full strength, which why wouldn't I? So 7, 6, and 3, 5, 9, and second combat round. Okay. So it's got 7, 6. I've got 9. He rolls 9. I roll a 6. He's down to 4, and he rolls 6. I roll 8. He's down to 2. So I've actually knocked him unconscious. Let me go to 3, 5, 9. Okay, another illogical thing, obviously, because it says in the rules if you get someone down to 2, they're unconscious, but here it says you temporarily release your grip on him and he manages to shove you aside just as the president's car draws past. He aims the gun and shoots. The president falls. You leap on him again to finish off the battle. If you defeat him, turn to 374. Okay. So basically should have had one more stamina point in that case. Anyway. Right. So I just need to roll one more time then. 11, 3. He actually injures me a little bit. 9, 5. Yeah, so he's down to 0. So that is not logical at all, according to the rules they've made themselves here. So 374. Because it was already unconscious. You hold the unconscious assassin out of the crowd, because I can't get him down to 0, it's unconscious on 2, so yeah, no. Anyway, you hold the unconscious assassin out of the crowd towards the president's car. I'm just going to play it the way it was intended, probably, is that he wasn't supposed to be down to 2, he was supposed to have one more point of stamina, so that he wasn't unconscious, and then he managed to shoot, and then I could knock him unconscious on the next hit, because otherwise he basically should have been unconscious, and then he shoots, and then you kill him if you want to fight him anymore, which doesn't make any sense. You hold the unconscious assassin out of the crowd towards the president's car. Swarms of police are surrounding the car, and in the distance you can hear an ambulance's siren approaching. One of the president's bodyguards is listening for a pulse. He looks up and shakes his head. In your street clothes you cannot get near the body, but the police listen to your story and take the assassin from you. One of them talks to another, who talks to another, standing in the car. They seem to be considering your story. Word gets back to you. Something strange is going on. You say this guy fired the president as he fell. And how come the bullet that killed him came from a high-powered rifle, not the magnum your man was carrying? You are as mystified as they are, and agree to go downtown to answer their questions. But one thing is clear, your assassin's bullet did not kill the president. Was he merely a decoy? You puzzle over this as you leave the station and head for home. Turn to 311. Okay. That is interesting. You set off home to take some well-deserved rest. The prospect of the F.E.A.R meeting is weighing heavily on your mind. Hang on, this looks familiar. Have I seen this before? 311. No. Yes, there it is. Okay. I knew it looked familiar, so I'm just going to go with the blue there and go down there. Okay. You set off home to take some well-deserved rest. The prospect of the F.E.A.R meeting is weighing heavily on your mind, but for the moment you are well advised to relax for the evening. You may gain 6 stamina points. Yeah, so I'll just up to 23 again. For taking it easy. Next morning you are awoken not by the alarm clock but by a crime watch. Beep, beep, beep. This time the message is longer than normal and it repeats itself. Reliable information, F.E.A.R meeting today, whereabouts unknown. Spring out of bed. Today? Do you have any clues as to where the meeting is? Where will you go? Right, last time I went to the waterfront and I was wrong. I think it's in town because I'm thinking the map is a good clue. So I'm going to stay in town and go to 70. If you are staying in town, you will already be making your way towards F.E.A.R's secret meeting place, which lies along one of the avenues. Which avenue are you heading for? Multiply its number by 10 and turn to that reference. So I've got 12th Avenue, wasn't it? And I'll just double check that now because I didn't put avenue or street, but it's avenue before street, isn't it? So it is. Where did I get the clue? Let's see, 30. Where did I get the clue? Yeah, again, I'll keep messing up my map here because I haven't. Ah, yes, paragraph 20. Just double check now. It says 12th Street and 2nd Avenue. Okay, so it was. Okay, so we have. So which avenue are you heading for? Multiply its number by 10. So. Oh, that doesn't work. So it can't be 2nd Avenue because that will bring me back to 20, which is where I found the clue in the first place. Right. So the result makes no sense, and maybe. So actually, I can't conclude conclusively that the waterfront is wrong. I can only say for sure that I do not have enough information to find out where it is. So, it is hopeless. You do not know where F.E.A.R is holding its meeting, and you have no chance of finding it in such a short time. You find a convenient spot, change into your street clothes, and hail a cab. The driver has his radio on. As it chats away, the radio splutters and fizzles. The music dies, and an unscheduled announcement interrupts the program. Turn to 292. A steely voice with a sinister tone speaks slowly and clearly. Citizens of the world, it announces. Do not attempt to retune your receivers. This message is being broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously, in all languages to all areas of the globe. My name is Vladimir Utoshsky. I am known as the Titanium Cyborg. My organization is known to you as the Federation of Euro-American Rebels. My message is this. We have taken control of the Star Wars satellite which orbits the Earth. We demand the unconditional surrender of all your governments and military establishments and the submission of all citizens to our leadership. Any resistance will be dealt with harshly. Our satellite will obliterate one by one the major cities of the Earth. As proof of our power, Titan City will be exterminated in exactly 30 seconds. Your heart sinks. You have failed to stop the fateful meeting of F.E.A.R. The whole world must now pay the penalty. Although you could fly as fast as you want and go and knock out the satellite. Simples. Which would take you less than a second, actually. Anyway. Right, so that is the end of it again, and I failed miserably again, and The map must then have been a red herring. It's not a major clue. So that means that it's either the tape or the other thing. What was that again? The cigarette pack that actually has the clue in that situation that actually is meaningful, or the map is a clue to something else. In any case, I quite like the style of this adventure because the thing is, each playthrough is quite short, and it makes you want to play again. So I'm looking forward to doing another playthrough of this, and hopefully I probably should go, even though I have a few locations where I know I have found major clues. I think I should just go with options I haven't taken before, because I'm sure there's something I'm missing, and also there may be opportunities for going on a side quest and coming back again to the main one, and or a side path. And it might be possible to get the major clue and another clue somewhere else. So I think, because obviously I haven't found the right path yet, so I need to try different things next time. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon. If you want to support my channel, you can also add my videos to public playlists. There's another way to promote my channel. Some of my most viewed videos, actually, the 11 years and a few months that I've been on YouTube, are actually videos that people have added to public playlists, and so that's a good way to promote someone's channel without doing anything else. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time, and goodbye for now. Bye bye.